Welcome to my channel Techify with Adil. So today we will be discussing about execute device enrollment. So under this section, the first topic will be Microsoft Entra join. So along with Windows 10, continuing to Windows 11. So in addition to joining an ADDS, that's Active Directory Domain Services, deploy Microsoft Entra joint devices. So along with creating the user accounts in Microsoft Entra ID, you can have objects that represent devices. You can manage devices that are joined to Microsoft Entra ID from the cloud. So before you decide whether you want to join the devices to ADDS domain or to Microsoft Entra ID, it's important to understand the difference between these two concepts. So any devices you have, so you can join to ADDS or you can join them to the Entra ID, but you must know the differences. What are the pros and cons in joining to either to the ADDS or to the Entra ID. So devices that join to ADDS domain must run a supported operating system version. For example, home editions of Windows and Windows RT operating systems don't support joining a domain. Say maybe if you are using your personal Windows machine, so most of the personal Windows machines will be Windows Home as a basic one, unless you upgrade it or you have your new licenses. So when you check, you will not have no option to join them to the domain. Devices that are capable of joining an ADDS domain usually access on-premises applications and services. So devices also can access some cloud resources if you integrate the domain accounts with Microsoft account. So Microsoft Entra join allows all Windows 11 and Windows 10 devices except home editions, Windows Server 2019 and newer Windows virtual machines running in Azure. The server core isn't supported. So this is a thing to take note. Devices must meet certain requirements such as having correct ports open and not being joined to another ADDS domain. So devices running operating systems such as Windows 10 Home, Pro or Enterprise, Windows Server, Mac, iOS and Android can register with Microsoft Entra ID. When you register a device with Microsoft Entra ID, it can access cloud-based resources and Azure-based resources by using SSO. From a management perspective, you can use Intune to manage and provision devices that are registered with Microsoft Entra ID. However, you can't manage these devices by using GPO, which we already have discussed earlier, and also we'll be discussing more on the future videos as well. Here, one more thing to take note is, so you can see here Microsoft Entra join allows all Windows 11 and Windows 10 devices except home editions. And the next point here we say is devices running operating systems such as 10 Home, Pro, Enterprise, Windows Server can register. So you must understand the difference. This is Windows 10 Home editions cannot join the Microsoft Entra. Here it can be registered. So the joining the Microsoft Entra is different from registering the device to the Microsoft Entra ID. So if it is a Windows 10 Home, you can register this and you cannot join. If you want to join, it should be Pro, Enterprise and add newer versions of OS. Scenarios to join devices to Microsoft Entra ID. So if most applications and resources that you use are in cloud, so you can join your devices to the Microsoft Entra ID since your applications and resources are already in the cloud. So it's easy for SSO and also to manage the devices. If you want a separate temporary accounts, so if you need a managed temporary account separately from your regular accounts such as contractors, seasonal workers, yet you still want to provide them with limited cloud services, you can create these accounts in Microsoft Entra ID and join the users devices to Microsoft Entra ID. Then if you want to enable users to join their own devices, that is BYOD, bring your own device concept, you want to enable users to join their devices to your business environment. So Microsoft Entra ID might be the right solution. This is particularly the case in situations where users are utilizing non-Microsoft devices such as iPads, Android that can join the ADDS. So usually in our organizations, we would have noticed like they will be allowed to use their own iPad, their mobile phone, Android, iOS, especially the basic access is like to have their Outlook, to have Teams, and they can access. These are the company resources they access, and also some of the applications which we needed. So say example, if you are having this work from home and work in office scenarios, both hybrid work environment, in some organizations there will be chopping seats, like you select your seat before you come office, so that when you are in office you don't you're not surprised not having a hot desk. So in those cases, if you are having your office in the app installed in your personal phones, all this kind of things need some kind of security and access. So these all can be managed by registering the user ID with the Microsoft Entra ID, and the phone is being managed, or that part of the application or the part of that resources are being managed by the Intune. So using Intune you can manage that, so you keep your data secure, just in case like if the user has forgot the password, you can reset it from the Intune. If the phone has been lost, you can remote delete or remote remove the things from the handphone, so that your data are being secured. So these are some of the management ease we get when you are using this BOID setup in your personal phones. You want to transition to cloud-based infrastructure using Microsoft Entra ID and an MDM such Intune. You have remote branch offices with limited on-premise infrastructure and wish to provide joining capabilities to workers. So these are some of the scenarios where you will be joining the devices to Microsoft Entra ID. Very basically, the most important thing is when you are bringing in temporary device or the device that doesn't belong to your organization, it's the best idea is to go with Microsoft Entra join. Like you're bringing in some vendor, he's going to work for 2 months, 3 months, you're bringing in some temporary workers, or you're letting your users to have their own device to use, then all these things. And also you're using, when the devices are with unsupported OSs, then all these kind of scenarios we can go for Microsoft Entra ID is the best solution, because you'll be able to manage and you'll be able to have them connected and access the resources they require as well. Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join. So if you have an on-premises Active Directory environment and you want to join your domain devices to Microsoft Entra ID, you can accomplish this by configuring Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join devices. So already your device, like example, I have my Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise that's already connected to my ADDS, and I want this device also to be connected to Entra ID. Then I go for this solution called Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join devices. So Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join supports a broad range of Windows devices, because the configuration of devices running older versions of Windows requires additional or different steps. The supported devices are grouped into 2 categories. Supported operating systems like Windows 11, 10, 8.1 except the home editions. The Pro or Enterprise all can be used. Then Windows Server from 2008 till the latest one. As a first planning step, you should review your environment and determine whether you need to support Windows down level devices. Like Microsoft Workplace Join for non-Windows 10 computers available on the Microsoft Download Center must be installed for down level devices. So you can also prepare the non-Windows 10 devices to join the hybrid join. So you can't use Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join if your environment consists of single forest that synchronized identity data to more than one Microsoft Entra tenant. If you already have an environment setup, say you have a on-prem single forest setup that is being synchronized to more than one tenant. If it is already synchronized to more than one tenant, then you cannot go for this Enterprise Hybrid Join, since there is multiple tenant already synchronizing with your device. This might have a sync issues. Reasons to use Microsoft Entra Hybrid Join. So you have Win32 apps deployed to devices that rely on Active Directory machine authentication, or you need to manage them with GPO, that is group policies, which is not supported in the cloud. You want to continue to use imaging solutions to configure devices for your employees. Microsoft Entra hybrid join is a process to automatically register your on-premises domain join devices with Microsoft Entra ID. There are cases where you don't want all the devices to register automatically. So in these cases, you should control the Microsoft Entra hybrid join of your devices. So you need not allow all the devices to be automatically registered to your on-premise. Like register your on-premise domain join devices with Microsoft Entra ID. You do not allow that.